Be patient. You're going to make mistakes. Everybody does. Don't get down on yourself. Persevere. Keep your mouth shut. You'd rather be seen than heard. Know your place. I think that's a biggie. You don't want to come in and make waves. You're trying to gain tenure. As far as in the classroom, first and foremost, they've got to have a handle on the class. So you've got to be strong with discipline. At the same time, you also have to sell yourself as a teacher, because if your kids don't like you, they're not going to work for you. So strong with discipline, sell yourself as a teacher, and don't be afraid to try new things. So often it seems like the younger teachers come out and they're afraid to venture out on their own. Think for yourself. Think for yourself. Don't be a follower. That's huge. If you're doing something in class and they don't get it, but you're on a timeline, because you're always on a timeline, do it over again until they get it. And if that means you're not with the rest of the grade level, so be it. And then, you're going to get observed. Do a standard 7-step lesson plan. Take it serious. Do the planning. Don't give them anything, your principal, anything to write you up on. Really do your homework on those. It's a big deal. And have a life outside of school. I think a lot of people come in and they're here at 6 in the morning till 6 at night, and they think that's going to make them a better teacher. But what ends up happening, at least from my point of view, they get burned out. And a lot of new teachers are dropping like flies within 2 to 4 years. So balance school with your personal life. And know that it's not easy. It's very rewarding, but it's definitely not easy. I love it. I love what I do, especially teaching reading in first grade. I mean, you see progress on a daily basis, and I believe in what I'm doing. I think it's really super important. Reading is the foundation of their education. Learn to read, read to learn. And they'll use that skill for the rest of their life. The people that take the brunt of the criticism concerning it are the teachers. Just my experience, you teach, you have your heart in the right place. I mean, you can go out and make a lot more money doing something else. What doesn't get talked about is the family life that these kids come from, or in most cases, the complete lack thereof. That's huge. I mean, I can point out the kids in my class every single year who are successful, and they have support, whether that be from mom and dad, or from a mom, or just a dad, or grandparents. And the kids who do not have support usually come from a broken family, and their circumstances are just hellish. They come here, they're looking to find a safe haven. School is kind of secondary to them. That's their mind frame is, especially they come from a broken home. It's devastating. It kills them. So it starts in the home. Yeah. Well, and as a teacher, stick with what works. I'm teaching first grade. I do phonics constantly. I have a leveled reading program. It's almost 50 years old. It works. So. Don't be so quick to change. Find what works, master it, get it down, tweak it every year, and stick with it.
My advice to a new teacher is to be helpful, kind, and safe.
Your first year is so overwhelming with trying to get to know the curriculum and all your students' concerns and all the assessment piece and just everything that you have to do. So I think if you came into the game and you had really good classroom management, you had really good tricks for getting their attention or transitioning, like silly things, like you say hocus pocus and the kids say let's focus, and they're all focused on you. Those sort of things are really important to keep it moving along. Another thing I found really challenging my first year was I kind of didn't realize the spectrum of students I would have, how many really low kids I would have and really high kids I would have, and then you have some in between. And trying to meet all their needs at once is very, very tricky. I'm lucky that I have some volunteers who can do pull-out reteach group or who can go do enrichment with the high kids. But in the beginning, I just struggled with that because I'd have one kid that took an hour to finish something and another kid who had a great product in 20 minutes. So if you can plan for that ahead of time, I think it goes smoother because your high kids are awesome and great, but they'll become behavioral if they don't have something engaging. And now that we have one-on-one teaching in the classroom with computers, there's a lot that those high kids can do independently, or vice versa, the low kids can do independently with different softwares or even free programs that are out there. Like for example, here at Bishop Elementary, we have RAS Kids, and that's leveled reading and comprehension. So you can have the kids, it's already differentiated. There's also different activities on Spelling City that we use, and I have differentiated spelling lists for my higher kids that have more challenging words. So the more that you can think about how you are going to accommodate that, the better the flow is. And then I always struggle, to this day, I struggle with classroom management, the behavioral piece. I've tried a lot of different things, but none of them seem really lasting. So having more than one system, and I always try to do positive enforcements, and we have gotcha tickets there, so that works, or just call home or something like that. But for some kids, they don't respond to it, especially the kids that don't have the support at home. So unfortunately, you have to have sometimes a negative consequence, like, oh, well, you're in with me at lunch and doing what you've missed. So those are some of the challenges. And then, one last thing, using assessment to plan forward. And it's hard to do. It's really time consuming, but staying on top of your grading and your assessments and then seeing where the gaps are is useful. And it takes a while till you really feel like you're in full swing. And you're gonna feel extremely overwhelmed your first year. And you're gonna feel like, you're just barely trying to keep your head above water. And I still feel like that.
My hands. Okay. And action.
Cole, my sorry. My advice to a new teacher is to be responsible.
Patience, and take instruction from other teachers. Be happy to and eager to learn from the teachers around you who have already done year 1 and year 2 and year 5 and year 12 and so on. Teaching is a process that you never stop learning, never. And you learn from each other, you learn from your students, you learn from the classes that you have to take. But it's a process that never ends. And so especially first-year teachers, I would recommend pick the brains of the teachers around you. I believe that not every teacher is the same. Different teachers have different gifts and different ways of presenting things and different ways of helping their children learn. And to me, the idea of every teacher having to be on the exact same page at the exact same time and teaching the exact same thing in the exact same way is insanity. You also have to change your teaching style depending upon your class. Different classes learn in different ways. Different students learn in different ways. And so, to me, the current idea of teachers teaching so much the same is foolish. If I came back and I could change things, which would be the only way that I would even substitute, would be to allow teachers to use the strengths that they have and allow them to have a little bit more elasticity in the way that they can approach their classes and approach each individual student. And I think a lot of that's been taken away in the last few years by the way the state has said that we have to teach. It's one of the reasons I retired when I did, was I just felt that we were teaching in ways that were not beneficial to the students. And that made me a little nuts. And so I said, no, don't want to be a part of that. So I retired. The profession is a noble profession. I'm a third generation teacher, and I'm proud to say that my eldest child makes it fourth generation. We've all taught different levels, but then I believe that each teacher finds their niche where they find the age group that they love. I love teaching. That's why I still volunteer my time to teach. I'm an art docent here in the schools. This is my third year, and most art docents have one class. I have 8, and possibly one more being added. And that's fun. I love working with the kids. I enjoyed most of my career. The things that made it difficult and the things that make it difficult for every teacher are the years when you don't have the support for the difficult kids, for the kids who are hurting the most or really need the most help. And sometimes you have administration that really provides that support, and the years that you don't have that support, it's hard, it's miserable. And the whole social condition sometimes makes it hard on your heart, because so many of the kids I can remember just wanting to take home with me and love them because they didn't have anybody else to love them. And I felt like I was it. And so that's hard on your heart. But in the end, it's a beautiful thing to do. And I'm glad that I did it, and I can't imagine having had any other kind of profession.
Okay. My advice to a new teacher is to behave and be nice.
I think that the most important thing for a first-year student to understand is they need to leave their ego at home and grasp everything that any veteran teacher can give them. Ask questions. If you don't know the answer, go find out. There are years and years of experience that are just waiting to teach you how to be a teacher. The second thing I would say is have fun. If it isn't fun, you're not going to last. And enjoy what you do. It evolved over the years. And you have to use common sense. You have to be concrete and define the consequences and be willing to go all the way to the end to force the issue. But there's a kind way of doing it. Once they know where the line is, they won't cross it if they'll follow you. And so you get them to be on your side and want to please you. Then the discipline just falls into place. It's much easier. You're able to, I call it freelance, but you're able to create on your feet while you're teaching. If you see a direction you need to go, you go that direction, and you teach them what they need, but also what they want to learn. When they ask questions about space, you go into that and you discuss it and get them wondering and get them involved. Reading is the same thing as when my parents were learning how to read, as when their parents were learning how to read. It's the same basic idea. The difference in my program is mine is more along a mathematical line. And so sometimes it's easier for kids to pick up the way that I teach it. It's very simple, and the rules are very, again, concrete. And so I introduce them to those rules and get them involved in reading, and read. And then they become, a lot of them become lovers of reading. I would get the people that haven't been in the classroom out of it. I think that classroom teachers, by and large, know where they're going, know what needs to be done, and have the talent and the desire to get them there. There are things in math that have been introduced into classrooms from publishers that have no way they should be in the classroom at this grade level. They're just not ready for it. It's not appropriate. And I ask myself, were these guys teaching, or have they ever been in a classroom when they have designed these programs? A lot of the things we've done here in our classrooms is redesign things so that they meet their needs to a better degree.
Good. I think that's it. That's perfect.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
My advice to a new teacher is to stay on task and follow directions the first time.
Advice for a first-year teacher. I would have to say that you need to go easy on yourself, number one. When I think back to my first year teaching, I had all of these plans and all of these ideas, and I wanted to do so much. And I realized that I couldn't because there's never enough time. And I just had to kind of take a step back and think about, what was the most important thing to get across to the students, both behaviorally and academically. And I would also say, take any advice that you can get from other teachers, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Use your observations from your principal as a learning process. Don't be afraid of that. I think for me, I was afraid to get into teaching because I thought I would be sort of kind of walled up in a classroom, and I might get bored of it. But in actuality, the kids make it a challenge every single day, and they teach you so much. And every day is fresh also, and every school year is fresh. So you can always do something different. You can change it up if you don't like it, or if it didn't work, or if something worked well, you can build on it. So I think for me, just that constant cycle of learning as a teacher is something that I love, along with the kids. And I just love watching them grow, especially in 5th grade, because they're getting ready to move on to middle school. So when they come in as 5th graders, you see them younger, a little less mature, and then you get to kind of send them off. We have a promotion. And what would I want for my child to go into a classroom? I would want my child to feel safe in their classroom. I would want them to feel like they could make mistakes and it's okay. I would want my child to feel the great feeling of success, whether it's academic or behavioral. So it's definitely made me think about all of those things. And it's also made me think about how much room I allow for creativity and for different children's needs. because every child is different. I try to be a consistent teacher, and I try to start every day fresh and give every kid the benefit of the doubt in the first place. So I think being a new mom is maybe going to, shall I say, mellow me out, or bring me just kind of hopefully down to like a calmer level, and really focusing on just that safety and comfort in the classroom, a place where every child wants to come every day. And just being like not afraid to give children love. You know, I think sometimes teachers are afraid now. Should I give a kid a hug or not? Will I get in trouble if I, show too much care? Because you get worried about that kind of stuff. And I just realized I'm not, because they need it, and that's what's really important. What's the most important thing to do when you go home from school? And I've always thought that kids should play, they should, get outdoors, they should be active, they should be with their family. So already I've thought about, is this homework assignment really necessary? Or should I try and have them do an activity that they could do with their family members and have a conversation about around the dinner table? Or, so how do I want them spending that precious time after they leave school? So I think my homework has actually decreased over the past few years because of that.
My advice, teacher, is to be nice and helpful.
A lot of things are things you can't change by yourself. You are the queen of your classroom or the king of your classroom, and you can make many things happen. Part of that behavior management, part of the strong planning component is so that you are feeling comfortable and joyous about what you're doing. You can listen to your kids, you can pick up ideas from what they want to know, but you're really setting it up for you to succeed. Well, I think it's really important to plan well. Over-plan, look for every possible permutation of the way the lesson might go, because you want to be able to take a teachable moment and grab it. When you see children not understanding something, or you see the understanding take a little bit different turn, it's really important for you to be able to jump in and move with that. And so if you're over-planned, you know where you're trying to get to, know exactly the outcome you want to see, to know that you are sacrificing a lot in a lot of ways, and that you're putting in extra effort and energy to make every day count for every student. And then it's sometimes not rewarded or recognized in some way. Know that wherever you teach, you have positively impacted the world. And you're making the world a better place because you gave of yourself to help and love another human being. It's a great thing. It's hard.
I know.
I'm sorry. I walked into kindergarten and I just knew. I can still smell that room. I can still see it in my mind's eye. And I knew I wanted to be a teacher. There isn't a day that goes by that isn't exciting in some way. You've seen great things happen for kids. You see that light go on. You have a moment when someone says something to you that just touches your heart. You, in turn, have made a difference for someone, and you find out about it later and you go, wow, that was a simple thing I did, but it made a difference. I can't even imagine doing something else. It has to be passion. It has to be excitement and perseverance and determination and joy and love in your life for it to make it happen. And that's why I love teaching.
Great. That's perfect.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
I cry at commercials. I'm terrible.
Advice to a new teacher is to respectful.
Good.
Teaching from your toes, not your heels. And a passion for the work and the kids. And it's either there or it isn't. And if you find you don't have it, either go find it or, it may not be your path, which is a harsh thing to say and hear, but it's the truth. The kids deserve somebody that has a passion for the work. Kindness, provide a safe place for your students to be. More and more I find that school is often the one secure, safe place that kids have to be. Another thing with relationships, as I find, is when kids are, so-called misbehave or they're having a problem, I find that, an awful lot of young teachers tend to take this stuff personal rather than seeing it as symptomatic. And and see, there's a perfect example. We need to really celebrate mistakes. It's an opportunity for learning. If it's stepping on your shoelace and falling down, this is an opportunity for learning, right? So likewise, when I really got to a place where, first of all, I never took any of the behavior personal. I saw it as symptomatic of something going on with the kid, and decided to be, if you will, the adult in the room. I think anytime you find yourself allowing yourself to become angry with a kid, you need to stop and do a little retrospection. What's really going on here? What's my role here? And that ability to have create a distance between the behavior and yourself, and to really see things as they are. One analogy I like to use is if you walk into a doctor's office, you're so beautiful. If you walk into a doctor's office and you sneeze or cough, do people yell at you? Of course not. Why not? It's a symptom that there's something going on. This is sort of a nuts and bolts kind of idea, but I also made a point of meeting my kids outside. I wanted to be one of the first people they came in contact with at the school. And part of that is there's research that shows that one of the leading influences on the nature of the quality of a kid's day at school is the nature of the interaction with that first school person. And so therefore, I wasn't sitting at my desk doing last minute planning. I was out, oftentimes meet them if they're coming off the bus. I was out there to greet them. It's great to see you today. Well, you demonstrate that. It's not something you talk about, but you demonstrate the care. You do what you say you're going to do. You're somebody that kids can depend on. That's critical. And then if let's say that a kid's misbehaved or they've made a mistake, and it's a great learning opportunity, by the way. That's how I see it. And so there needs to be some natural consequence, and I'm going to think about that a little bit. One of the ways that I can show that I care, is I'm going to deliver that consequence with empathy. I'm going to lead with empathy. This is a real bummer, but I care too much to have you go through life thinking that this behavior is okay, and here's a consequence. And delivered that way, what I find is two things. They own it. They don't scapegoat, which is kind of a normal thing. You know, if you back a kid in a corner and you're, you know, how dare you? Well, my teacher got mad at me. There's no ownership of the original behavior usually, but you lead with empathy. I like to say, and I've picked this up from other people, but empathy opens the mind to thinking. And the other thing, I'm a real believer in questions and wait time. I think we hurry too much in teaching, and we tend to ask a question and then provide the answer, you know, because the kid's taking too long. Well, let the wheels turn, and don't be the sage on the stage, so to speak. And I don't mean this in a, it's more a plea, is you don't ever want to be the person that tells a kid that something isn't possible. And you'd think we would have all figured this out by now, but I still hear stories of, you know, I work mostly with big hurt kids, and they all have stories. The teacher telling them, well, you'll never amount to anything. You're crazy if you think you'll ever make a living drawing cartoons. Those break my heart. It's a kind of a how dare you moment for me. So it's often said, you know, a teacher, you have this this power to really change lives, but it comes with an incredible responsibility too. You're not there to cause harm, and you know, I'm speaking as somebody who had plenty of harm done as a kid by teachers. It's in some ways ironic. I ended up teaching. The good news about that is one teacher can come along out of that whole crowd and turn your life around. Actually, you turn your life around, but the teacher's there to facilitate that growth and that change. So I guess I'd end with, don't ever lose your faith in the resiliency of the human spirit. The kids are incredibly resilient. They can overcome amazing handicaps and events in their life over which they have no control. And you can provide them with a caring, safe place and make a difference.
That was emotional.
Yes.
See a girl in the night with a baby in her hand under an old street light near a garbage can. Now she puts the kid away. She's gonna take a hit. She hates her life now and what she's done to it. That's one more kid that will never go to school, never fall in love, never be cool. Keep on teaching in the real world. Keep on teaching in the real world.